Brother Nashi, I want you to tell me if what my boss's children did to me is okay or they are evil-hearted. After their father, who was corrupt because he was doing tenders, and he asked me to burn money that was close to 1 million rand, and I burned it. I did not even steal it before the police had arrived. But what his kids did to me on June 30, I can never forgive them. I now know that if you are an honest worker, a hard-working person, just wanting to please your boss, you will never get rich in life. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and it reads like this. I wasted my opportunity, Brother Nash, in South Africa. What was done to me on June 30, it has left me with absolutely nothing. I was someone that used to move around with a Land Cruiser. I would drive a Porsche. I would even drive my boss's BMW, a Ranger as well. To think that right now I am struggling. I'm not supposed to be struggling because I was enjoying life in South Africa. The people here, they are already laughing at me because people back then, when I was still enjoying South Africa, they thought that maybe I do have a South African ID and I have a farm there in South Africa. Because when my boss asked me to burn the money because the police were investigating him, so they were coming to the farm to take his laptops, some documents, because he was doing some tender corruption. He used to keep money at the farm and I knew about it. So he called me and he said, quickly stop what you are doing, take the money and go and burn it, so that by the time that the police arrive there is no money at the farm. I did so, and he promised me that I was going to get a South African ID through his connections. I even thought that I was going to be given a lot of money by my boss because I had assisted him, but he gave me nothing. Brother Nashin, you can call me Richard. Do not release my real name. I am a 47-year-old man who comes from a village just outside of Harare, which is called Murewa. But currently, I am staying at my friend's house in Parktown in Harare. I have come here to confess that there was an opportunity which I was given by my ancestors when I was still in South Africa, and I ended up throwing away that kind of an opportunity because I foolishly thought that loyalty alone was enough. My problem that I was always facing the time that I went to South Africa was that I wanted to be loved by the people that I was working for. I was what they call in South Africa a pimp at the farm where I was working. This is what I used to do at that farm. If my boss will go maybe to town, and then he would have given us a job to dig up a trench. I was working with other two guys and a Zimbabwean and a Malawian man, and it was us three Zimbabweans. So as we were working, if those guys will stop working and they are just relaxing and just discussing whatever that they were talking about, then I would take my phone, secretly record them, and then I would send the video to my boss. And my boss, he used to be very happy about the way that I would tell him that the other people at the farm, they are not working as much as I was working. He said that I was the most loyal guy that he had ever came across in his entire life. Let me take you back a little bit. This is how I arrived in South Africa. I arrived in South Africa illegally, so without any documentation, but it was way back in the year 2004. Most of the people in South Africa, they did not want to work on the farm, so you always get a job on the farm. The first job that I got was on a farm which was owned by a white man, but that man, he did not pay us a lot of money. Eventually, I was able to get a job right close to the place where I was working. On that farm, it was the farm that belonged to a black man. He was from Venda. That man, he had a lot of money. He was a millionaire. He was quite old. So he had bought this farm just to keep his machinery, because the tenders that he was doing was to make the roads. So all the equipment that they were using, whenever they were not using it, they would keep it at the farm, including the TLBs, the excavators, and other small machinery. So I started working as a security guard, looking after that machinery. But as time went on, then I was able to start working as his gardener. And in the farm, when you work as the gardener of the boss, it means that you are close to the boss. It's like a promotion when you are working on the farm. So I even tried to get some cattle, but they were not interested about it, because they were just doing phone farm management. They would just tell me what to do on the phone. So this man, he had real big money, but his money, he had made it through his tender businesses, through corruption in tender businesses. I started out, I was just a general worker, a security guard. Slowly but surely, the boss began to trust me, because each and every time when he was not around, then I would tell him everything that was happening to the farm. Even if you were working with me, you go to the toilet, you spend time there at the toilet, then I will call the boss and tell him that you have been in the toilet for the past 30 minutes. So the boss, he loved me. Whenever he traveled to Cape Town or Durban, he would simply say, "Richard, I am leaving this farm to you, my son. The farm is in your hands. This will make me to be so happy, to be so excited." I even started to think that maybe I was South African because of the way that they were treating me as a family. I started to feel like I was a member of their family. One day, something happened that completely changed my marriage. Some of these guys that I was working with, the other 3 guys, the Malawian and the 2 Zimbabweans, they also had their wives. They ended up stealing a safe that was full of money. When they stole this money, Brother Nashi, they told me that we were supposed to run away to our countries with this safe that was full of money. But in my mind, because I just wanted to be loved by the people that I was working for, I told them no, that I was not going to steal. I thought that my boss, he was going to give me more money because I did not steal from him. I don't know how much it was, but it seemed as if it was a lot of money. The boss, surprisingly, he did not go to the police. When he came back, when he found out that the 3 guys had ran away after I had told him, he did not go to the police. You know why? Because this money that he was keeping at the farm, it was corruption money that never went through the bank. So he could not go to the police. After a couple of days, I then heard that one of the Malawian guy, he was hanging out in the location, and what he was doing was that he would go to a tavern and then he would say, "How many people are in this tavern?" If there were 20 people, then he will say, "We are going to lock the doors of this tavern. No one comes in, no one goes out. Everyone, you are going to be drunk. You are going to drink all the alcohol in this tavern." So people started to suspect that this guy, he might have stolen some money. I immediately went and I reported the matter to the boss. The boss, he was so happy. The boss said to me, "Thank you, Richard. Thank you very much. You are like a son to me." But what surprised me was that the Malawian guy, when he was arrested, he was not arrested for stealing the millions from the boss. He was arrested because he did not have proper documentation and he was deported to his country. This surprised me. The boss, you know how much he gave me? After I had told him about this Malawian guy, he gave me a bonus of 10,000 rands. At least it was some money, but my wife, she was mad about it. She said, "Richard, what kind of a stupid man are you? How can you be given 10,000 after your own workmates have stolen millions and they have ran away? Your boss did not even bother to go and report about that matter to the police." So my marriage, it started to suffer. From that day onwards, Brother Nashi, it reached a point where the boss trusted me. He would give me keys to his other houses. He had other houses in different provinces. This used to make me feel so good. I would have those keys hanging around my neck, even going to town with the keys of a house that he owned in Cape Town. And even the people at the farms, they used to say that Richard is a rich man. They did not know that I was just getting paid the small amount that they were also getting paid on their farm where they were working. My boss, he would give me his car, a Land Cruiser. I would go with it back to my country, but he would hire a South African driver since I did not have a work permit to cross with the Land Cruiser to go back to my country. And when I would have arrived in my country, I would talk with that South African guy and look for a hotel for him to stay. Then I would drive to the village alone so that people can think that the car, it is mine. My wife, she would be angry at that because she knew that we had an opportunity to run away, even with the cars, even with the money. But all that I cared about was to be loved by my boss. My wife was always mad at me because even when we were planting cabbages, I would go and take people from the nearby location and then we would work together. I would even tell my boss that my wife, she is a lazy woman, and I would even try to get her fired, and I would say she does not like working. My wife, she would even cry, "Richard, what kind of a fool are you? I am your wife. At night you want to sleep with me, but during the day you are telling your boss that I am lazy." My boss, he would arrive with bags that would be full of money. He would give it to me and he would say, "Richard, keep these bags for me safe. I'm going to come back and I will get it, or another person is going to come and collect it." I never once opened those bags, even if my wife would say, "Let us open the bags, let us see what is in them." I would place them exactly where he would have told me to put them. Sometimes a bag would stay in the house for more than 2 months until another guy, black or white, would come and collect that money. So I never asked what was inside, even though I knew that there was money. I believed that my only job was to be loyal. Even my wife would be like, "You are a stupid man, you are a foolish man." And I would reply her and I would say, "What matters is that my boss, he loves me." Something happened back then that makes me laugh at myself at the way that I am suffering right now when I look back. So even my ancestors, wherever they are right now, I'm sure that they laughed at me when I was told by my boss to burn money that was close to 1 million rand. I'm sure that they laughed at the way that I was very stupid. I burnt money, Brother Nashi, a bag that was full of money. This is what happened on that day. I had gone out with one of the Ford Ranger and I was just driving around the farms. The boss then called me. He was really stressed on the phone. He told me that there were police that were coming to raid the farm. They had already raided his other houses. He had received a tip-off that the next target was his farm. He told me that there were certain documents that needed to be destroyed immediately. He told me about the other safe and the pin that had money. I just stopped what I was doing, got into the Ford Ranger, and I drove like a madman back to the farm. When I arrived at the farm, my wife was shocked at the way that I was driving. So she ran as I was walking towards the main house, and I opened it up and I ran to my boss's bedroom and I opened the safe, and there was money that was piled in the safe, and I started to take it and I put it in a bag. My wife, she thought that maybe we were going to run away. My wife, she asked me, "Where are we going with all of this money?" And I told my wife that my boss had told me to go and burn all of that money. So she was like, "Richard, are you this stupid that you are going to burn money? This is money." She thought that I was lying to him. I grabbed a box of matches, and we walked into the forest, but on that same farm. And when we saw that we were far away from everyone, that was when I put the bag down. I took some grass and then I put on top of the bag and I started to burn that money. Even my wife, she started crying when she saw that I was burning all of the money. That was when she said, "Richard, I'm done with you. You will never change. I'm going to leave you with your boss and with your farm." That is how my wife dumped me. I really did not care, because at the farms, I was someone that was loved by many women. They did not know that I was not getting paid a lot of money. They just wanted to drive around with the Porsche that my boss will give to me to go and shop at different supermarkets and to come back. When I would be driving those cars, it was not a lot of people that would suspect that I was a Zimbabwean, but I would only drive to town and back to the farm. I would not go anywhere very far since I did not have any documentation. I would drive these cars around the farm roads. So after I had done that, I noticed that my boss, he started to love me even more. But what angered my wife was that after burning the money, my boss, he just came and he gave us a 2 liter of Kingsley. My wife laughed at me throughout the night, and then she said, "For burning 1 million and saving him from the police, he buys for you a 2 liter cold drink of Kingsley. You are very stupid, Richard." And she left me. So when I was now alone, my boss will drive with me to the family braai. I would be there. If there was a birthday, I was invited. These kids even called me Malume Richard. I genuinely believed that I was finally going to get the ID that I wanted, or a work permit. But the years went by. I remained as someone that was very loyal. I never told anyone about the corrupt deals that my boss would be doing at the farm. I never did or said anything to my girlfriends, but he did not come with money after that at the farm. So my boss will be like, "Richard, you are a hard-working Zimbabwean. People like you can never be found in this world. God blessed me with a good worker." So I thought that it was always going to be like this forever, but nothing plans for tomorrow. No one controls what happens tomorrow. My boss eventually fell ill. After some time, my boss, he then passed away. I was deeply, genuinely devastated. At his funeral, even his children, they were hugging me. They were like, "Oh, Malume Richard. Oh, our father loved you, but do not worry. Our father trusted you. We also trust you. We will take care of you, Malume." So I felt like this was what I had worked for. This family was going to give me a lot of money, even to give me all the cars at the farm, even to help me to start farming, and the money coming into my pocket. From 2021, that is what they used to tell me. Everything is fine. We are still sorting out some issues. They would be like, "Malume Richard, things will be fine. We are still sorting out the estate of our father. Once the estate of our father is sorted, your pension is going to be released." Whenever they told me that the pension was going to be released, I was happy, thinking that maybe they were going to donate 1 million, 2 million, 3 million to me, and I would return back to Zim as a very rich man. So I never gave them any pressure. I just said that I need to wait for these people. But your brother Nash, then June came around the corner. When June came around the corner, that was when they called me. You know, people, they will act as if they do not know that you do not have any documentation. All these years, their father knew, and they knew because there was a trip that we took to Cape Town. Their father had to hide me in the car when we passed through a roadblock because I did not have any papers. But when they called me on June 30, they were asking me, they were like, "Malume Richard, what is your status? And I said, what status are you talking about? And they said, Malume Richard, do you have a work permit on your passport? And I was like, guys, I don't have anything. Then they asked me and they said, okay, is it possible for us to help you to get that work permit? I just laughed in my heart and I said, Richard, because I knew that it is not going to help me in any way. There is no way that I am going to get a work permit. I am not a skilled labor. So I said, no, it's fine. You will never be able to assist me. They asked me, so what are you going to do right now? Because if you continue to stay at that farm, we are going to be arrested. Is there any other place where you can go and stay and relax as for now? And I said, I do not have money. They just said that they were going to give me a salary. That was the end of the story. They chased me away from the farm without giving me my pension. After that meeting, I sat on the chair until I sat down. I started by crying and I started to laugh at myself, thinking that I once had an opportunity to run away with money, but I did not. So, because of the pressure, I then returned back to Zim. I have absolutely nowhere to start. I have not yet gone to my rural home because everyone knows that I have a South African ID. I have a farm. I move around with a Porsche. I buy cars. I drive big cars. But these cars were not mine. They belonged to my boss. I am ashamed to go back to the rural areas empty-handed with absolutely nothing. Right now, I am squatting at my friend's house here in Parktown. My friend, if he was single, I can say that he would have given me the best life. He is trying to help me, but his wife is a witch. The wife hates me with all of her heart. Have you ever stayed at a house where you just feel that you are no longer welcome? That is what is happening to me. I am no longer welcome. I am not allowed to laugh. I am not allowed to blink. I am not allowed to do anything. If I blink, she complains. She just wants me to stay silent. There was this other day, Brother Nashim. She started to complain. She was like, Richard, our data is running out because of you. You are always on TikTok. So I said, you know what, my sister, but you are using Starlink. Doesn't Starlink have unlimited data? She just said, unlimited data does not mean that a person should be sitting and holding their phone for hours. So I just said, Then I got up and I got outside of the house. I went to the garden and I started to water the vegetables. I was humiliated. Someone that used to hold millions now being humiliated by people that I used to assist, because when I was in South Africa, I would send money to some of these people. Here in Zim, there is no money, there is no job. I can't go back home. I don't know what else to do. If you know any Zimbabwean that is staying maybe in the United Kingdom, that has a farm, a plot, a house where they want someone to look after their property, I am begging you by the love of God. I am an honest person. I will never steal anything. I just want somewhere to start afresh. If you know such a person, please tell them to give you their phone numbers and I can speak with them. This is the years that I wasted when I was still in South Africa. To this very day, when I think that I once burnt money for my boss, it makes me to even hate myself, because I will never get such an opportunity in my entire life. I wish that I had done what my wife had asked me to do, to burn grass and to hide the money, and later on to make a plan B. But I just thought that being an honest person, it will help you in the future. Your boss will love you. Your boss will give you more money in the future. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to us by our dear brother, and that was a translation of his message, hoping that you were able to understand. Yeah, burning money. He burnt money for his boss helping him in his corrupt deals. But do you think that it is fair that you are doing tenders and you are being raided by the police? You ask your gardener to burn money, then you just buy him a 2-liter bottle of cool drink Kingsley. Yeah, let us speak with our brother in the comment section. Let us talk about this. I want to thank all of you who always watch our videos, as well as to like and to comment. I'm hoping that now that our sister is getting much more free time, she will translate some of the other confessions that I do get and I sent to him. So I hope that we'll be posting more often and longer videos. Let us meet again in the following episode.